All right, ladies and gentlemen, weekly verdict. We look a little bit different. Charlie is on assignment in parts unknown this week, joining me, which has been pretty much a usual spot. Fire Frank, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
All right, Fire Frank. Um, it seems like over in the land of wrestling, AEW's pretty much stolen the show in terms of the headlines.
Yes, sir.
What was the big news that came out of WWE land this week? I had a hard time, besides Johnny Gargano, coming up with headlines.
Yeah, I think only thing we got out of that was, like you said, that's the big debut. They had a big Raw in Toronto, sold out house. Gargano appears out of nowhere. Actually, caught both of us off guard, obviously, including my
Yep.
buddies BDE who were at the show and we had to run back to their seats when they heard the music playing. But other than that, yeah, we had let's see what was going on. Just more there's nothing too major this week. There more build for the Clash of the Castle. We had NXT and NXT UK are going to unify their titles as we expected at this special next week.
So I'm interested in the finals of the women's tag team
Okay,
championship.
that's another thing.
That would be something else. Let's talk about Gargano. I was
Mm-hmm.
a little, in a business where everything leaks. This was definitely a surprise. His promo, right, was
Mm-hmm.
also a surprise where he mentions no one called him besides WWE. I thought that it came off like something you wouldn't want someone to say, making their like re-debut with the company.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would rather someone go out there, yeah, I was a hot free agent and I decided to come back home. Like, oh, no one wanted me. I get it. He's the underdog, and he's always going to play that role. But it just it seemed like too reality based for him to go out there and like say that.
Interesting. Yeah, it didn't really make it as a big impression on me as it did you. I didn't even remember him saying that right now. But only thing that really stuck up to me was he was just it made sense. Some of the stuff he was saying, he said, other than that, he was saying, hey, I want to be Intercontinental Champion. I wanted to be U.S. Champion. I wanted to be WWE Champion. These are true statements. Um, it is a good place to debut. I mean, if you're going to debut in a city that's they could have done him in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. I guess he wasn't ready. With AEW in Cleveland this week, a lot of people are saying, well, that's probably why they got him out there before. So there was no, oh, is he going to
Yep.
show up on Dynamite? But I thought it was a good place to debut in Toronto. That's a very heavy, hardcore wrestling fans. They know him. They love him.
Yep.
We've seen him in NXT Toronto several times. So it was a good place. It was kind of out of nowhere, and I kind of liked it. There was no even, say, hey, there's a mystery tonight or a big surprise. It just kind of, they come back from break, and here he comes. And if you're not ready, you miss something, which
Yes.
is good because now it's like, hey, if you turn the channel on Raw now, you're going to miss something.
Yep.
And that's a good thing. And he came out, and the crowd loved it. Um, you mentioned what he said about who called him and all that. It was a nice little, typical Johnny promo. It's good to
Hmm.
see he's still Johnny Gargano. He's not, Johnny. I don't know. What kind of name
Johnny
you make
Heel.
up? Johnny. Yes. Well, as far as his character, as far as his name is all concerned, I like that. I like that they had Theory interrupt him. Tying it all in, and a lot of introducing to the main audience how they had a pass together. Not
Hmm.
everybody may have seen his exploits in the way, but it was a nice way to debut him. I thought, outside of everything else you just said. So it's a good little feud if they're going to run with that. Makes sense.
It does.
Got to do something with him to start off. I mean, you're not gonna.
It's interesting that AEW really didn't make it a legit offer. So that kind of tells me two things here. I don't think neither of them are a slight at Johnny Gargano. I think it's more of an AEW um, bigger overarching issue that they have, where the roster is so overbloated with people that they couldn't find a spot for Gargano at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, even before like all this, regime change and everything, he's probably better off staying where he was because of the fact, like you just said, it wouldn't be a good time to jump. I know a lot of people are making jokes. Well, Triple H debuting people every week. I said, yeah, but not to the level. Like
No,
he's re-signing some guys that make sense. It's just where would he go? What would he do over there? He would show up. He might have a match with what do you? You could have a match with Adam Cole. He could do that. He can fight some of the guys he fought before. He'll wind up like in 3 weeks he'll be like everyone else that came over.
it's more of re-debuts of people. Like they
Yeah,
haven't went out and signed a free agent and debuted
yeah,
them, like a free
yeah,
agent that from AEW.
yeah.
So,
Which is a good way to segue into
well,
something else,
I
maybe.
have a theory. Well, besides Austin Theory or Theory, I still call him Austin Theory.
Yeah, he'll always be Austin Theory.
It's a good feud for him. It makes sense storyline wise. Speaking of like angles with WWE, I just thought about this one. So the finals of the women's tag team match was set
Yeah, for this
where
Monday
it's
night.
Sky and Kai versus Aaliyah and Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Can we please get Rodriguez turning on Aaliyah and
We
she
could.
joins Control with her old buddy
Yeah.
Dakota Kai, and then they
Good point.
freebird the belts with the three of them.
We could see that. I know we discussed about a couple weeks ago on the show, like what we can do with Raquel. As she was that good heel role as a heater of the group or something. That would be a good place. It makes a lot of sense.
The
It gives her
smiling
something.
baby face just for me it doesn't make sense for her.
It doesn't make sense because people haven't really seen when she was NXT, she was heel all the time. Then when she turned, it was more natural. Now it's just kind of she's showing up. I mean, it seems like that's just her. Like, if you ever see pictures, she's a very happy-go-lucky person. But in wrestling, it just comes. For some reason, it doesn't seem real.
Cheesy. It seems cheesy.
It seems cheesy, even if it doesn't. Even though that's really her personality, some people just don't come off with their real personality in wrestling. Oddly enough, as much as we talk about the other way, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you're going to put the belts on them. I don't see them unless there's some kind of weird angle. They're going into the pay-per-view and that 6-woman tag, them as champs makes sense. And if she turns after and then shows up at well, we'll see. Maybe she'll then join well, we call them the Control. They still don't have a name, but
Yeah.
she show up to help them at the Castle show. We don't know.
Can we get an official name for that group too?
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure they're working on it. It's weird that they haven't debuted one yet after a month, right?
like merch and stuff. I don't get it. That's what I miss about Vince McMahon. There would have been shirts. For that matter, Tony Khan. Okay.
Yeah.
There would have been shirts already made. There would already been stuff done.
Several different. As a matter of fact, yeah.
And it doesn't take that long just to throw a design up on the website and say, this is a new shirt.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I know they're heels, but that stuff sells. Yeah. They already got, they threw up a Gargano shirt, but not till a couple days later. I know maybe with the changeover, there's just still some disconnect there, but you got to have that. Pro Wrestling Tees will have 4 different shirts from this week alone.
Yep.
They already have a Moxley shirt to that match. I mean, immediately.
It'll take you about 6 weeks to get the shirt from them, but yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you get the soft style shirt like this one and not the, in fact, get your Gargano merch on Pro Wrestling Tees while you can. I know it's about to expire. This is one of his non-WWE shirts. But yeah, that obviously the women's tag title tournament hasn't been anything spectacular, but we didn't expect it to be. Last night's show, they just they had a quick match to determine who was going to be in that match. and it was Natty and Sonya who quickly won that. The actual tournament match was pretty decent. Raquel's good. Leah, not so much. She didn't have a great week. It was better than the match with Bayley, but at least she got a match in her hometown, I guess. But somebody had to lose in their hometown. It was her.
It's someone. She got super emotional too.
Yeah. Listen, she's been in the company for like 8 years now. This is as good as she's gonna be. So
yeah,
either we're gonna just deal with it or we're just gonna send her on her way.
Yeah.
Someone who had a better week this week in Toronto was obviously Edge. What a response!
Oh yeah,
that's year that he had a great match. Then with Priest, which made Priest look good, even though in defeat, which is we expected. Beth got involved as we speculated a couple weeks ago.
Since he cut his hair, I don't know what it is, but he looks really old.
You know what it is? I think sometimes it's the beard too. I don't know. When he came, I thought he looked old with the long stringy hair, but I guess you're right. Even now, maybe it's the beard. I don't know. I don't know.
And he had the very cryptic off-air promo.
Yes,
there was. Next August, this is where I'm coming to my last match.
He said something like, "Well, they usually come to Canada in August, and maybe next year at this time we could be." So I don't know if that means he's planning on retiring in a year.
It's weird because I feel like he could do this for more than just another year.
I don't think they've even reached the full potential what they can do with him yet. He's done some different dream matches and all that, but I think there's so many more things you can go with.
Yep. Especially because his schedule is very light.
Yeah.
He can do this for probably another 3 or 4 years before we're even traveling down this road.
Even if he just worked the major pay-per-views or PLEs, did some dream matches, you can run that for a while. I mean, you can even run it until I don't know how long Christian's AEW contract is for. If you're going to do that final run thing that we thought should have happened last year and didn't, I could see him if his contract was coming up. I could see that enticing him to stay a little longer to finish that up, together. But we'll see. But it was a good match. It was a well-received Raw. Place was packed. Numbers were up again, over 2 million viewers. So it was a good week for them there. Let's see what else is going on. Yeah, the women's tag title tournament will be interesting to see what happens after it's over. Is that when we see reemergence of the former champs? I don't know. There's been some speculation.
I don't think it's going to be overseas. I think they're going to, on a Raw or a SmackDown, whatever, you'll see them reemerge. Them being Naomi and Sasha.
Yeah, they got some big shows coming up. I know they just put out tickets for Survivor Series in Boston, and they're basically sold out already, even in the pre-sale. So, they're doing pretty well right now. Tickets are hot, which is good for the business.
They know that it's going to be brand warfare.
Yeah,
because they postponed the draft.
It looks like the draft's not going to happen this year. I don't know, which is unusual. It usually happens right around October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have the brand warfare, which isn't always the best, but we'll see what Uncle Hunter's going to do with that. Obviously, Uncle Paul, whatever you want to call him, Daddy Paul, Daddy Sean. I don't know. Nice.
AEW, man. So much in the ring, out of the ring. I don't want to start with some of the obvious stuff. This was still a major story that came out of the camp, but I think it's kind of been buried. It's the fact that we'll talk multi-layered discussion here. So you have Thunder Rosa, who in the ring. I hate the interim champion thing now. But basically, she can't go. She's got a injury. So it's going to be Toni Storm, I guess, versus Britt Baker at All Out for the interim.
No, it's a 4-way, actually.
Oh, they made it a 4-way.
So you've got also with Hayter and wait, who else? Am I missing someone here? Hater,
Sheeta,
Storm.
I think, is in it.
Yes, Sheeta. That's right. Sheeta's the fourth. Sheeta returned from wherever she was lately. Showed up on Dynamite. So yeah, you got a 4-way. I think they were going to do that anyway for the title, something similar. So
Sheeta's gonna eat the pinfall.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see who gets this interim title. I'm tired of this interim title stuff, but I don't know how long she's going to be out of action. It's from all accounts, it's a legit injury. I know there's a lot of speculation, so because of recent events, but I won't go into the stuff we don't know about. We'll just go with we get at face value here, and that's so she'll be out for a bit. They don't like for whatever reason. Tony does not like having people stripped of their titles, even though that's what you know. He's got to do something different. So
he wants the UFC book.
He wants the UFC thing, which works fine for UFC when you have to promote something. For wrestling, I don't know. You could always just have the former champ get the first shot at it instead of having this weird thing where they have to come back and unify it. I don't really. I know a lot of people don't like the traditional wrestling stuff tropes, but I mean, whatever.
There's a reason why it's worked for so many years.
Yeah, it's just a simple thing. You could just throw out a tournament. They love tournaments in AEW anyway. They got one going on right now. So
they have a tournament for everything.
For everything.
They have a belt for everything.
I'm pretty sure Tony's got a whole office full of belts. He hasn't debuted yet. He's been waiting. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. You and I were kind of in agreement on what they should do with the title right now. We should be getting it off Rosa anyway. It's been a really underwhelming reign.
In the report coming out of the dirt sheets,
there's been some.
Thunder Rosa has a somewhat mixed reputation amongst the rest of the AEW's women's locker room. Let me just pull up.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is per Fightful Select. So take it with, it's maybe 80% accurate. The report discusses how to some Rosa has emerged as a locker room leader since joining the company, said to have been a driving force to getting young talent on shows. Meanwhile, Fightful also reports that Rosa is seen as being difficult to work with by others and has developed an ego. So she's kind of polarizing to her peers, which, you know what? It is what it is. Not everyone's going to like you. She certainly had so her emergence was kind of outside of AEW. She was brought in as like the NWA
when she was still champion.
Then she crossed over into signing the AEW deal. It got popular, and I think it's obvious that her and Britt don't get along. So then you probably have Camp Britt versus Camp Thunder Rosa. And who's really close to the Melts and Magoos in the dirt sheets?
Right.
It's Britt.
Yeah.
She's closer to those people. Thunder Rosa's close to the Busted Open people. Mm-hmm. So Thunder Rosa usually is on Busted Open. It seems like every week. So she made, somewhat of a comment. Let me pull that up. This is what she said on Busted Open, which is on Sirius XM. It's an awesome show, in my opinion. They've been doing it a long time. Dave LaGreca and company. Thunder Rosa says, I'm not the best physically right now. I was in a lot of pain yesterday. Lots been happening in the last couple weeks. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of commission. I don't know for how long, for a couple months probably. I have a problem with my back, and yesterday I was trying to be strong. Back problems are not easy. Some days are good, some days are not. Yesterday was not a good day. I was in a lot of pain. That's one of the reasons why I'm taking it off. I want to clear the air. This is not fake. This is not at work. I'm not comparing injuries to injuries. If I could fucking walk, I got to say it. I can effing work. Doc Samson didn't clear me to wrestle. I'm not clear to wrestle. It's not that I don't want to do a match on Sunday. AEW All Out. I can't walk. It's a shame that this is being put out on social media, not only to discredit me as an athlete, but also discredit me as a wrestler. I want to walk when I'm 40. I have the right to say no. I can't walk. I can't do it. I don't want to have surgery. If we keep doing this and going through the pain, then I'm going to be out for longer. I don't want to do that. So far, what do you think of these comments?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes a little more sense than the promo we got on the actual show the other night. It was kind of like they cut to the back, and Thunder Rosa starts crying, and it seemed so weird. Like I wasn't even like it was like it was hard to comprehend. Like came out of nowhere, and it was just kind of I don't know, just odd.
It was like Sean lost the smile.
Yeah, it was really weird. Obviously, this what you said on this podcast, a little more in depth. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she's just saying, making up stuff. I don't know. I don't know her. I'll take her at face value.
Yeah.
I know there's been some reputation on and off throughout, even going back to her Indies days. I used to watch her wrestle in Shine when we used to go to Evolve. They had double shows. She was tag champ for a long time there with Holodead.
Yeah.
But there's been so many weird little things. Talks about sandbagging, and then she had a shirt that said sandbagging. She seems to play it up a little bit. I think you're right on the money. It's pretty obvious her and Britt, to put it mildly, don't care for each other.
Yeah.
The way, I mean, their feud was very good. They had that big match 2 years ago. That was a lot of people had as
the lights out match.
Lights out match. I thought it was pretty insane. But I thought they took so long to actually pay off her chase for the title. Like by the time it happened, it didn't really mean anything. It was nice it happened in her hometown, but after that, it's just like they just.
Well, the problem was they didn't plan her subsequent feuds and opponents after
because they don't
getting
have
the belt from Britt.
They don't have enough credible heels for the fight. The only credible heels they have are Britt and Jade, who has a different title, so they can't have a match. So
exactly. So they booked themselves into a corner, and
at this point, you probably have to put the title back on a heel. I know we a lot of people are saying just put it on Tony, and I wouldn't disagree because you might as well try.
They should put it on Jamie Hayter.
But I would mind. Yeah, put it on Hayter. Put it on somebody that you can do a little story there. She's a heel. They could finally do the breakup over that. That story can be told eventually.
I mean, honestly, it's one of those where Britt, at this point, they should just finally make her a face.
Yeah.
Without changing too much about her. Because the fans are going to want to cheer her anyways.
Honestly, I thought they should have done that a year ago when she was still champion. They were teasing it, and then Hayter debuted and she was still a heel. It was weird. They did that. I think that was the first Rampage where she was kind of being made to be a babyface in her hometown, and then they didn't run with it there. But you're going to have to at some point. But again, we still need credible opponents. Yep. Which, despite signing, and that doesn't mean signing everyone available and just putting them out there. That's not necessarily credible opponents. We have to build them, and it's hard to build them when you have one women's match a week or two, and it's the same people, or it's random people that nobody's seen before unless you watch the YouTube shows or you listen to Shot in the Dark, my buddy John Cena.
No one has enough. No one has enough time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of shows, but I can't watch every single thing. I don't want to watch 2 hours of squashes. I'm sorry, guys. I know there's people out there that like it. Like I said, shout out John Cena with Shot in the Dark. He lets me know what's going on. If there's any matches, I got to check out. But, yeah, there's a problem with the women's division there. We know it. Everybody says it. Then some people are weird about it. But it's pretty obvious. It's been a major problem. And the fact that they have 2 titles doesn't help because...
Well, speaking of problems, she continues to say during this spot on Busted Open, not everything that is being said is true. If anybody has a problem with me, anyone call Busted Open. Call my number. Tell me to my face. I don't hide from my problems. I don't run from my problems. You can talk to me. My door's open. That goes for anybody. I've taken accountability when things have happened. So she admits there is some truth to rumors without really saying it.
There was a couple posts, and I think she took her social media down again. I don't know if it's back up,
I'm a straightforward person. Some people don't like that and are afraid of that. I'm not. I'm a trained fighter. I don't run away from shit. Stop reading stupid shit online.
Yeah. Obviously, she doesn't, just listen to what people are telling her. If she's got a problem, she's gonna say something about it. Yeah, there's a little bit of that's the nature of the business, as we know. There's always going to be situations like this. As long as she keeps it professional, and I think she has. I mean, there's been talk about her doing stuff in matches. I know a couple weeks ago she did something that hurts. I don't know. I've never been in the ring, so I'm not going to sit here and speculate about who's working too stiff or doing this and that. You're not going to hear that from me.
Speaking of AEW,
yes,
we have a really weird situation with tampering.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through this tampering scenario and why it's funny? Why all of a sudden now they're concerned about tampering, but yet they magically were able to get Adam Cole, Danielson, all these people to appear as soon as, like, I don't know,
the contract was up.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with Britt and Adam Cole, he was hanging out with them well before he signed with AEW. Even 2 years ago when they first went on the air, there was all kinds of videos of him hanging out with the crew there. And now this week we hear, well, first of all, we hear there's this emergency meeting called, which I haven't heard about since like Dixie Carter did one in TNA years ago, and they put it on the air. But apparently, he brought up at the beginning of the meeting there was this email sent out by their legal team to
Mega Perec,
Stephanie and the Khan and Triple H
about
something about her name warning them not to talk to tamper. I don't know what that means. Let me correct me if I'm wrong. This wrestling contracts aren't like baseball contracts or like other sports, right? So how could you have tampering when you're an independent contractor?
See, that's a conversation that honestly could take a whole show to walk through.
But it's only a problem when you're afraid it's happening to you, or when there's suddenly a possibility of people actually wanting to leave you to work for the other place because they like who's in charge now. So it was different when everybody wants to come there because they don't want to work at that crazy place. But when there's all this word about it's changing, people are happier and people are going back like Gargano. He's getting a little nervous.
Well, let me tell you,
more than a little nervous. Clearly,
you want to talk about geniuses in working everyone.
Yeah,
Chris Jericho is just like playing this to a T.
Oh yeah,
where he's like. He implies that he was one of the people contacted. So Tony, and we said this on the show, who was his favorite wrestler growing up?
It was Jericho.
It was Jericho, right? He saw Jericho.
First guy he signs at a company, right?
Yep. Him and his father watched Jericho 95 ECW. They were at the ECW arena.
Mm-hmm.
And like he loved Chris Jericho. Tony's like, no, you can't leave me, Chris, at this point, right?
Which is funny because I see a lot of fans that want him to leave now because they don't like him anymore in AEW. So I think it's funny. So he's probably a little nervous. I think we discussed in the show with given who's in charge of creative now. I don't know.
I don't know if that works.
I mean, I know that supposedly they're tight now again. Him and Hunter put aside their differences they had in their career, and supposedly they're pretty cool now. I mean, I still think he's going to come back and do something there, whether it's a Hall of Fame, whether it's a one-off appearance. But it's funny, like you said, I don't know whether or not that's true or if he just loves, like you said, working everyone. So
he's a great businessman.
It works into his character and his sports entertainment, all the stuff he's doing. No matter what you say about whatever you say about the man, personally, if you don't like him or not, when it comes to the business, he knows how to work everyone.
What was the text that I sent you? I sent you a text and I said, if you don't have Chris Jericho in your top 10 of all time conversation, then you don't know professional wrestling whatsoever.
Right. I think you said that to me when he was doing that promo in the ring with Garcia and Danielson the other night.
But let me tell you something. That Dynamite was Dynamite. That was a very good Dynamite. We got a couple weeks in a row. The show's been solid. Competition is good. It's in the archives, ladies and
Yep.
gentlemen. Uh, if you haven't yet, like this video, like this
Please.
show, comment, let us know what you think. But competition is good. It was an episode that we titled, and competition is good because both companies have run really good TV for several weeks now, and it's good to see. It's very good to see. A couple things. I mean, obviously, the proverbial. Anything else you want to speak? Oh yeah, Kenny Omega apparently, according to reports, went off, and he sounded like a little bit like a douche during like tough love during
During
this
this meeting,
tampering
during
thing.
this rally the troops speech, yeah.
I don't think Kenny Omega's the guy to do that.
No. I think we've discussed many times about how Tony Khan needs to delegate in his company. He's done that now. He's promoted some people. He's got Shivani apparently doing had a major speech during this meeting, but apparently Kenny's did not come off so well. I don't know. He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't seem like the guy to be doing that.
No, you know who the guy would be? Cody. They let
Yeah,
that guy walk. So
he was that guy.
they obviously need someone there that's a talent, that's a wrestler.
But that can also
Yeah,
do the professional stuff too.
yeah.
It's not Kenny.
Very surprising outcome that happened on Dynamite.
Yeah, I know. We talked about. I think we were texting right before the match starting that it was coming on early. We're like, and you said, "Oh, here comes some kind of swerve," and we got a swerve all right.
Total swerve here.
I think we brought it up as a possibility, but we didn't think this was like the main possibility that was going to happen.
Yeah,
but we did have the match.
So we had the match, Punk and Moxley. It wasn't much of a match. It was a one-sided. Yeah,
he kicked him. He sold his foot. Then Moxley just obliterated him.
It came off very well because
it did.
We didn't know if it was real or not. So
he sold very well. It was very mixing, as I think we discussed last week, mixing the lines of reality and fiction.
Yep.
And using all this controversy to build something. In fact, I've heard reports that this Moxley suggested this idea. And
what?
I don't know. Sorry, guys. I didn't want to break the illusion.
He suggested it.
Yeah, I don't know how true this is. This is like I said, these are reports. I don't know if there's people that put out reports behind paywalls, and I'm hoping they're pretty.
Well, it was a good place to do it because he's from that area, Moxley.
Yeah. It put him over strong as the champion.
Yeah, Punk.
I know. Punk doesn't look too weak because
this was the UFC where he got his ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where he walked out of WWE.
There's a lot of backstory here why they would do something like this here, and now I think we understand why they did this match. I know last week we were questioning what is going on.
I mean, Charlie, he is in here. Charlie literally said, like, all right, I can't watch AEW. And I was like, this is either he's legit hurt again, or this is a storyline leading to him getting the title again. So,
I'm leaning toward the latter, although because the way he sold, it was very good. I mean, all the stories we've heard, the way he came back out of nowhere, the way he was selling it at the conventions he was doing last month. Oh, my foot is on fire still. It's burning.
It's still they're still advertised to have the match at All Out. They haven't taken the Moxley Punk thing off the radar. So it seems like
we're going that way, even though we only got another week.
Well, the problem is you have to have the world title match on the show.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to put in there?
There's nobody else there.
There's no one else.
We're kind of getting this like redemption story in a short amount of time, which is kind of strange, but it seems like they're going what's the best way I can put this? The old Rocky 3 storyline. Rocky gets crushed by Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
trains hard with Apollo's help, and he takes the
But
title
then he
back at
comes
the end.
back to his hometown in
Sorry,
Chicago.
right? But this is like 10 days later, so I don't know how much drama we can get out of this. But I can expect possibly for them to have the actual real match here. And then what do you do? Is the question. Well, not Chicago proper, as I know. I was there last year in Hoffman Estates, which is about an hour from Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm not really fond of the Now Arena, but what do you do, right? Do you put the title right back on him in his hometown area? Do you continue to put Mox over strong? I don't know what they're doing after this. I know the entire plan. Obviously, Punk was supposed to be champ all summer and then build to whatever they were going to do it all out. Was that going to be the Moxley match there originally? Who knows? But nothing else.
It seems like MJF
right
is on standby at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Like, are they just holding him off for a plan, or I don't understand. It's very strange.
To me, it's like seat of their pants booking.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whereas I think early on with AEW, the things that were interesting was they didn't give too much away right away.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, all right,
a long-term story.
Let's give it all away. Within a week or two.
That's what I mean. You're getting into like the Monday Night Wars type Crash TV booking, where we're giving away stuff on TV just for the sake of it. Or it's very. I saw somebody brought up like the way they book these pay-per-views is kind of like WCW used to do. They would be so focused on one main thing, and then we get the pay-per-view. We gotta build some random matches. We gotta throw out
the Acclaim. All of a sudden,
the Acclaim getting a tag title shot even though they're not ranked.
It was like it's face tag team versus face tag team.
Very strange.
I
mean,
didn't make sense to me how the Acclaim just turned babyface and then they're facing a babyface tag team for the titles.
Yeah, I know they're hot right now. That's where they turned them face because they were pretty over as it was, so it made sense. But they're sitting there, they're helping out Billy Gunn, and now they're getting a tag title shot because they went backstage and talked to the champs. They're a very strange promo.
Maybe we get a heel Swerve in.
Maybe they tease that for a while. I don't know what's going on. They're just kind of there. Swerve and Keith Lee are just kind of there. At this point, I'm wondering if Swerve wishes he hadn't signed that contract. I don't know.
No idea.
But we'll see. We'll see on that. Yeah, they're kind of throwing stuff together. I'm sure the paper's going to be great. They usually deliver in the ring. They're just going to throw out some actual good matchups. Not, like WWE used to do.
A match that was scheduled for All Out that's probably not taking place. Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara. Man, this seems like the most junior high thing between two people that are professional. Now, I'm going to bring up Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara has had a couple incidents now where he's been suspended or there's been a botch. You even have outside of the ring stuff with calling off his engagement. Then all of a sudden he's with Ty. Obviously now they're married. People are going to say love is love. However, there's got to be some professionalism, right? And it seems like a continued trend is Sammy Guevara sits right on that line of professionalism and every so often goes off of it.
He shows his age a little bit, I guess. He's still pretty young.
Granted, one of the incidents with his it was like a podcast comments that it has a lot to do with cancel culture, but he is very immature. He is very talented in the ring, so it's like one of those things where it's like we can only do so much. Eddie Kingston's an interesting story because he's the proverbial underdog, but I mean Frank could speak to this more. He's the epitome of the Yonkers, native. Like he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
He's gonna say what's on his mind, and he's also gonna be very emotional. And the root of this whole riff between the two was promos, where Sammy Guevara and him walk through, things, and apparently Eddie Kingston didn't say anything was off lines. Guevara made a comment about him being fat. Kingston blew up on him backstage and led to Eddie getting suspended. Walk me through this whole thing here. I want to pull up Sammy Guevara's comments as well. But Frank, walk me through.
Right. I think the other day when there was this like these news coming out of that meeting about some kind of suspension, I sent you a message. You said, "What? What are you talking about? What suspension? What's happening?" And I said, "I don't know." And then we hear this story about something he said in this promo that never aired or did air. I know they didn't air something last week that was taped for Rampage promoting the match, so maybe that's after the suspension. It must have been happened that week. Couldn't have been a long suspension, but yeah, it was really strange. And then, I mean, Eddie's basically come out and admitted it because he will do that. Like you said, he's emotional, but he'll come out and say, "Hey, I was wrong. I did this." He put it out there. This happened. It's on me. Like
So
you
this
said,
was
he's got that typical New York Yonkers kind
yeah.
of dude. He was emotional in the moment he blew up. Then he realized, "I'm sorry, I was unprofessional. I should know better. I'm a veteran."
And listen, I'm from New York, right? But there's a difference. Like Frank is from the same region as Kingston,
Yeah,
and there's a difference in how people are brought up. I lived a very different New York life than Frank, believe it or not. And we only live probably like a half hour, 40 minutes away from each
right.
other. But there's a big difference. So Guevara issued his own statement through Fightful. You know what's funny is like Fightful says that they're not like Meltzer, but very much they're like the Wrestling Observer at this point. Uh, Eddie did not mention to me or the coaches or Tony or anyone in AEW what he didn't want said. I cut a promo on Eddie, insulting Eddie and the fans as a heel. I see what people say online about Eddie and his appearance, which anyone who legitimately shames Eddie for how he looks could go to hell. It's the same people who shame me for being too small. This is the problem with today's wrestling. They read too much shit on the internet too.
Oh yeah.
Um, he also says, but Eddie did not do the professional thing and communicate to me. If he did, I never would have said it because the last thing I want to do is hurt someone for real. Oh, so you learned, from your comments about Sasha Banks. So at least you learned something.
Right.
Cool. So after the promo, I get to the back and Eddie is flipping out, yelling, "You can't call me fat. You can't call me fat. You can't call me fat." Over and over as I'm trying to walk down the stairs in Gorilla, making a big scene. I know this isn't Eddie's first time being aggressive and getting out of control backstage. I know he had to do some kind of anger management after this whole thing. Now, let me tell you something. This whole statement proves my point about Sammy Guevara. He's still burying Eddie King. He's like, all right, it is what it is. We're going to move forward and work past this. He doesn't need to bring up. I know this isn't Eddie's first time being aggressive and getting out of control backstage. What does that have to do with your situation with Eddie Kingston? You're essentially just being a gaslighter at this point, and you're making yourself to look like the victim. And there's zero foul play from you. That what you said was fine. Like Eddie, you said that you look on the internet and read these things about Eddie, and Eddie has even commented that it bothers him himself with his appearance and that he constantly tries to work on it, and it's very difficult for him to lose his gut. And he obviously, he being Sammy Guevara, capitalized on it during his promo. And if he didn't realize that Eddie Kingston wasn't going to go off on him backstage, considering what he said in his statement, I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it for the people at home watching this, okay? I know this isn't Eddie's first time being aggressive and getting out of control backstage. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. This tells me that even before this whole storyline that happened on screen, there was heat that happened prior that we don't know about between the both of them. And it spilt over from now in the ring with their rivalry and is now continuing outside of the ring. The fact that he can go on Fightful Select and say this, and Tony Khan doesn't go, hey man, can you shut the hell up? Because you're just making the situation worse. Because now you're saying, oh, Eddie's in anger management. He's out of control backstage. Like, you don't need to leak locker room gossip, especially you're confirming rumors and innuendo. Because guess what, Sammy? You're part of the locker room. Frank, take it away. I know I am very passionate about this because my job is to look at people's words, right? This is what they said. This is not I'm not making it up. In I'm not even scrutinizing or criticizing. These are their words. I am looking at their words and I'm going, "Oh, well, this is the problem." This is the problem. And the script is written out perfectly in his words. Take it away, Frank.
Yeah, I think you said a mouthful there, and you were pretty right on the money. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? You're out there saying this stuff. I know. I mean, unless this is some kind of elaborate work, which I don't think it is. I just think these guys legit. You can tell how they are. This is how they are. Sammy is very immature. There's times where he's not, but he's mostly immature. And he's a very emotional guy. He blows up. But like I said, look at the difference between the statements they made. He said, hey, listen, I made a mistake. I should have done that. I was wrong. Sammy twists the knife, saying stuff like, I know it's tough. And well, you know, there's been all this stuff. And then we got to do that. Like, what are you doing, man? What, like, you're not helping matters. Somebody has to step in at that point and say, guys, we're grown men here. Let's stop acting like we're like in junior high. This match, we promoted a match. Let's be professionals and have it or don't have it. I'm still not sure why this feud is happening anyway, considering the heat was Jericho and Eddie, and he basically never got his full revenge on Jericho. They did that match where they cheated him out of the way. I mean, I still don't understand what's happening. Obviously, we're doing Jericho Danielson at the pay-per-view, and that's why they move on. So whether this happens or not, I'm not really concerned. I'll be honest. It's not a match we need to see, but I hopefully eventually somebody gets through to Sammy to like, dude, dial it down a notch. Real talented kid. You got a bright future ahead of you. You're very important to this company. Let's just focus here.
It's literally grade school. This little photo, I'm gonna bring it up. Like, just, I'm sorry I called you fat. Okay, that's basically his apology, and he says, "Oh, it's a shame that." But dude, you called them fat.
Right.
You knew it was a sensitive subject. And
it's not the first time that's been brought up about him. I'm sure it's not the first promo somebody's called him that, but obviously it's something he doesn't, and even if you didn't know and he claims, I'm sorry, I didn't know, he didn't say anything was off limits. Okay, that's when you kind of resolve the situation. You don't sit there and say, well, I'm sorry I called you fat or, whatever. Did they go and actually sit down and talk this out? I don't think they did after whatever this pull apart they had. Obviously, they haven't even seen each other probably since then. I don't know. It's just so silly to see this stuff. Like you said, grade school drama.
Sammy's like 28, 29. Eddie's like 41, 42.
Like, grow up here.
This shouldn't happen.
This is the kind of stuff that I know people can say what you will about Vince. Would Vince deal with this stuff? I know we had stuff with Sean and Brett and all this stuff. When stuff like this happened, like they said, knock it off, guys. They had to something had to give at some point.
Well, right? to be fair, if number one, Eddie Kingston wouldn't be wrestling for WWE if Vince was in charge because of what Sammy Guevara said, right? And if he did, he'd be wrestling in a t-shirt like Kevin Owens, right? So
we can't really compare. I'm doing like hypotheticals. I hate to do that, but it's the only thing I can think of. But it's actually more akin to like some of the stuff in WCW when they didn't know who was in charge. Bischoff was in charge, but he was too busy hanging out with his boys, you know, and the stuff was running rampant in the locker room like this. It happens. It's not like it doesn't happen in any company, but this is so silly. It's not even as serious. But the fact that it was like they had a little bit of a tiff, they ended it, but now he's still throwing jabs. Like, it's not like he's promoting a match because we don't even know. This is still not. They're not even promoting it on TV, so I don't think it's happening, but it might be. They could try to build something up
with he's had heat with Matt Hardy. He's had heat with even Jericho and real life. Now he's with Kingston. There's a common denominator here. For people that are watching, thank you for watching. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. This is really some grade school stuff here.
There's not much more you can analyze, guys. It's just I hate to hear about this stuff.
I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Weekly Verdict. We miss Charlie. Charlie will be back
Charlie's having a good time
in a couple weeks. Programming note: I am also on assignment, so there will not be a Weekly Verdict next week, and there won't be any shows for the weekend pay-per-views. Unfortunately, had some business I have to take care of, but it's okay. You'll get some great cards. We'll talk about it when we can reconvene. It's still probably going to be topical.
I'm sure nothing major will break in the next week. Yeah, sure. Happens every day now. And because we're not here, I'm sure something even more ridiculous is going to happen. But we'll talk about it at some point. Please leave a comment what you think about anything we just discussed. If there's something we didn't discuss you want to touch on.
Yeah,
there's always something happening. But like you said, big weekend coming up next weekend. So enjoy the shows. I know tomorrow, myself personally, when recording, I'm going to go to this House of Glory pay-per-view down in New York City. So Eddie Kingston will be in the main event, so against Marufuji. So hopefully, I think there'll be less problems there with Eddie.
There will be
facing one of his idols. So
if you've watched this far and you notice that you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button.
Please
subscribe. We appreciate it. Like the video as well. People watch, and I know that they watch and they view. Please just give a like. It helps us out. It helps other people find us. Signing off as per usual. Good night. Good luck. Farewell. We'll see you later.